Alright, welcome back to the channel, guys. So in this video we're going to be talking about how to prepare for Team USA. So what we will answer and cover in this video is the training, the practice, adjustments that need to be made, and the mental game. So stay tuned for that if you want to learn how to prepare for the Team USA trials. So let's go and get into the video. Sport pattern training. This is my first point that I want to make is, what is sport pattern training? It is practice on the toughest patterns out there. But why does it matter? Well, this matters because you need to be accurate. Because if you're not accurate, you can't win. How do you start bowling on these patterns? Well, normally your local center can help, but if not, you may have to travel to a center that can. So I know for me, I've been doing this for a while. So basically what I do is I get my local center to lay down a pattern for when I'm going to be going in there. So sometimes it's like pulling teeth, it is what it is. But if your local center cannot put down a pattern for you, well then maybe you can go somewhere that can. Maybe you can do that maybe once a week or something, or maybe twice a month. However often that you can get in there in order to bowl on these tougher patterns, it will be worth it over time, because if you're always bowling on whatever condition is out there, you can't really improve because you don't even know what you're bowling on, and you can't adjust to an old burned up house pattern. It's just basically a waste of time. So that's how I do it, and just keep that in mind. All right, a couple more points here. Start simple. Do not overcomplicate things. Build your awareness of where the ball hooks, and do this weekly and experiment with different shapes and balls. So again, this is how you get started. This is your training schedule. And so just to kind of talk about this a little bit more here, start simple and don't overcomplicate it. What I mean by that is, do the patterns that are 4-to-1 ratio or a 3-to-1 ratio. Those are the patterns that are kind of easier, that still have some margin of error built into the pattern. But what you'll find is that you'll have lower volume patterns, like around 23 mils to 25 mils, and then you'll have higher volume patterns, like around 27, 28 mils up to 30, 31 mils. And so notice the volume, and also notice the length, and also notice the ratio. So again, start out with those 3-to-1, 4-to-1 ratio patterns, and then as you get better and as you get more advanced, then go into the 2-to-1 ratio patterns, and then once you get really experienced, then you can do those 1-to-1 ratio patterns like the US Open. And build your awareness. So always notice when your ball hooks. Notice when your ball starts to hit the friction and make its turn toward the pocket. Once it gets out of the skid and the hook and then gets into the roll phase, notice that on each pattern and when your ball starts to take shape, because it changes based on volume, based on the length, and then the transition is always different based on the pattern shape, and then again how long it is. So always keep that in mind, because you have to play certain patterns different based on length and also based on volume and shape. So you will learn that over time. It takes a lot of time to really get comfortable with all these different patterns. So with putting the time in, putting the effort in, and practicing on these patterns constantly, eventually you will get pretty comfortable and pretty good at all these different patterns. All right, so adjustment training. This is a big one. What is it? Well, it is the practice of how to change before things go extremely wrong. So what do I mean by that? It's, you have to predict what's happening and adjust before things start to get worse. And so you see things changing. You may have a high pocket strike. Maybe you threw a good shot, but you just had a high pocket strike. Well, that is your indicator to tell you that you now need to move. So this is what that is. This is adjustment training. So what are you adjusting? Well, you could be adjusting your feet, your target, ball speed, release, and also ball selection. But how do you train? Well, you got to find a line. Go through your motions of getting comfortable, and as the lane transitions, think on each shot and what do I do now? And so this is basically what I do. When you go and you practice and you get lined up, you have your line, well, you can do this. You can start out with a really strong ball, that way that the pattern breaks down quicker, or it makes you go left sooner. Or you can start out with a weaker ball on purpose and use a weaker ball, maybe play straighter than what you normally would on that pattern, and get lined up, and then see what the transition is from there. Or you can start with your benchmark ball and then work your way as transition hits, and then that's when you start to make moves. So you can do it however way that you want to, just to see a little different type of transition on one pattern. So that way you have a good idea of what may happen whenever you use this ball and this part of the lane. And then if you miss here, then this happens. It just gives you a good idea of what that pattern is doing, what your ball shape is doing. And then you can change rotations, you can change ball speeds, you can change anything. You can start lofting the ball. And this is where you work on that. So this is your adjustment training. So that way you can have a better idea of, during the tournament, when this thing happens, I could actually try to do this thing that may work. And that's basically what this is here. Again, how do you train? You got to find a line, go through your motions of getting comfortable. And as the lane transitions, think on each shot, what do I do now? So from there, you always have to read your ball reaction and then make yourself uncomfortable by using different angles. So again, try different things and get yourself to be uncomfortable, because the truth is you got to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. And that's all the sport is you have a strength in a certain area of the sport, but you have to push yourself to be uncomfortable. You got to push yourself into areas of this game where you're not strong at. So for me, I'm strong at playing straighter. I'm strong at using urethane because it's easy to me. You know, it comes natural. I can just get up the back of it, stay straighter, and it allows me to control my angles. But what I have to do is constantly is work on moving left, opening up the lane, opening up my angles, especially on medium length patterns or even longer patterns, because that's normally what you have to do. You have to get left, and sometimes you got to get left early. And so I have to work on that constantly, because that is not my strength. That is something that you have to realize for yourself. What am I strong at and what am I weak at? And by doing this, you figure out what you're good at and what you're not good at. All right, mental game training. That's the next point. What is it? It is training of how you think, react, and execute under pressure. This is about controlling emotions and resetting after bad shots. But how do you practice it? Well, after every shot, reset your mind and take a deep breath and practice having no reaction at all, which means no negative body language. That's something for me that I've had to work on, is having no emotion. And if you watch those videos of me bowling at the Ironman tournament and you see me missing those spares, I got frustrated, but I kept my cool. I just shook my head and went on. And then I thought, okay, I got to reset. Let's go on to the next shot. Now, again, my score was hurt by me missing those spares, but I can't react to it. I can't get all upset, throw myself, throw stuff around, start using bad language. I don't do that. You know, you can't do that, because why? It's going to ruin your game. Plus, it ruins your reputation. It says a lot about your character. And so you got to stay calm, cool, and collected under pressure, so that way that you can keep on bowling and hopefully it doesn't ruin your game. And so, yeah, you may make a mistake, but don't lose your cool. Move on to the next shot and act like that didn't happen, and then correct whatever mistake that you just made. All right, so Next point is you do this no matter what, even if it is a strike or a split. And then do the execution drill where you need to make this a shot to win the game. Bowl tired on purpose and shift your mind from results to execution. So just want to bring up that point again. Do the execution drill in your practice time where you need to make this shot in order to win the game. So if you're like me and you played a lot of different sports, especially in basketball, like say if you're playing at home, I know for me, I've done this my whole life. You say you got 3 seconds that's on the clock, and you're counting down 3, 2, 1, and you got to make this shot in order to win the game. Well, yeah, you can do that in basketball. You can do that in any sport that you practice in, but you can also do that in bowling, where you get up in a situation and you tell yourself, this is the 10th frame, and I need to strike out here. And so you put pressure on yourself so that way, when the moment arises, you're ready for it. And so you're constantly practicing like this is the tournament. This is where you get to win. This is the pressure moment. This is where you shine. And so if you're constantly in that mindset, then that's preparing your mind, body, and soul for that moment, for when it does happen, because it will happen at some point, especially if you keep on working on your game and you have the talent to back it up, because it's all based on talent, effort, and the work that you put in order to put yourself in that moment. And again, bowl tired on purpose. That's something that I do all the time, and because that will help you shift your mind from results to execution. And so whenever you bowl tired, it makes you focus even more, because you know that you're going to be tired, especially when you bowl in a format like the Team USA trials. You're going to bowl a lot of games, and so you are going to get tired. That's just part of the game, it's part of the format, and so you have to adjust to it. And so in practice, bowl tired on purpose, and then that will help you for when that moment happens. And then from there, you shift your mind to execution instead of scores. Then that changes everything, because now you're telling yourself that you have to execute on these shots, and if you execute, then that's the only thing that matters. Instead of I need to strike, just tell yourself, execute your shot. You know your target, you know your line, and throw it. And if the ball doesn't react the way you want to, well, then you make a little adjustment off of that. But that's all that you're thinking about, is just repeating shots instead of I need to strike, or I need to strike out, or whatever. So yeah, you want to put pressure on yourself. There you do the execution drill. But in real time, in real tournament time, you're not thinking about that. All you're thinking about is make your shot, hit your target, and then repeat shots. Consistency training, what is it? It is training not to bowl bad games and not chasing the big ones. What's that mean there, not chasing the big ones? That means don't chase those big games or those big strikes. And just like what I was saying before, just repeat your shots. Just hit your target. And so why does it matter? Every game matters and every block matters, because one bad block can cost you 30 spots. So how do you practice it? You gotta raise your floor by having clean games. Track your low games and build your spare shooting control and discipline. Practice missing on purpose and then recovering with a spare. So what do I mean by that? So in your practice time, practice missing strikes on purpose, like go left, go right, and leave yourself with some wild splits, some wild spares that you have to then pick up, because then that only helps your spare shooting game. Don't chase strikes, just repeat shots. So just continue to repeat shots and hit your target over and over and over again, and that will help you over time with hitting your target. And then track your performance over 6 to 8 games and write down what you struggled with. And so this has helped me just to let me know what I struggle with, what my weakness is. And so hopefully you took something from that, and just keep all that in mind as you move forward. All right, so just to recap, practicing on hard conditions helps with accuracy. The faster you adjust, the longer you stay in the tournament. You don't lose because of one bad shot, you lose because of how you react to it. Your highest game does not define you, but your lowest game does. So always remember, boring equals winning. And boring does equal winning. So keep that in mind. So whenever you're practicing, you're getting ready for the Team USA trials, keep that in mind. Boring equals winning. Just say that to yourself over and over and over again. Because why? You got to keep it simple. Don't overcomplicate things. Boring equals winning. So what does that really mean? Repeat shots. Hit your target again and again and again. Just execute. That's all you have to do. Just execute your shots. Don't overthink it, because that's all this game will ever be. You just repeat shots again and again and again. So always keep that in mind. So hopefully you liked this video. Hopefully you got something from it. And now you are prepared in case you do want to get involved with the Team USA trials. So that way you are ready to go. And so if you like this video, go ahead and hit the like button, and then go ahead and subscribe, and then I will see you in the next video coming up. So thanks for watching.